Thank you for joining me for our first ever Facebook Q&A live. My name is Thomas Poon. I'm the Executive Vice President and Provost here at LMU, and we are streaming from my office on LMU Chester campus. I'm really excited for this year to begin. I've only been here for 3 months, and I've met so many amazing people. I haven't had much opportunity due to the summer months to meet students, so this is hopefully one of the groups that will send in questions to me during this broadcast. And without further ado, why don't we get started?
So, Provost Poon, while we're waiting for some questions to come in, we have a few of our own, and I wanted to ask, what draws you to Jesuit higher education?
Oh, great question. I would have to say one is the Majas, which is doing more for others. Another is the whole aspect of whole person education, which was part of my Jesuit education as an undergraduate. So those are two really big draws for me. Another is the social justice aspect of Jesuit education.
And we know that you're relatively new to the area and that you like to bike. Where is your favorite spot to bike in Los Angeles?
Given my endurance level these days, my favorite place to bike is along the ocean from either north of Marina del Rey up the bike path to Malibu area, or south of Marina del Rey down to Redondo Beach and those areas. There are no hills. And by the way, for those of you at home, my colleague Justine is on Facebook right now. She's behind the camera, and she's reading questions that will come in.
Do you have a favorite book that you're currently reading or would recommend to maybe our students to read?
I'm currently reading a book called The Silo Effect, which talks about how siloing within organizations has been detrimental to many pretty famous organizations and very famous cases, and how de-siloing of organizations has really helped certain companies to thrive. So that's a book that I'm reading right now. In terms of for students, if they're interested in the business aspect of the world, that's a great book. I would recommend any of Malcolm Gladwell's books. I really love his books using sociology and statistics to explain some phenomena that have occurred throughout history, actually.
So I know that we posted your bio, so hopefully everyone's gotten a chance to take a look at that. Are there any secret talents not listed on your bio?
I have, so one thing that's not listed on my bio is that I like to make furniture. So I've created some tables, and I've created a standing desk that attaches to my office window. And so, yeah, that's one of my, I guess, secret talents.
When you're not here in beautiful Westchester, where is your favorite vacation spot?
By far, it has to be Italy. So I had an opportunity to travel around Italy. I love Siena, an amazing town where the Palio is held, which is a horse race among the different communities in Siena. So Italy for sure, especially for the food and for the people and just the sights and the history.
Okay, great.
Don't be shy, folks.
So Katie says, welcome to LMU. I love your ukulele song at the freshman convocation. What's your favorite song to play on the ukulele?
Thanks, Katie. My favorite song is the LMU song, but aside from that, I love Jake Shimibakuro's While My Guitar Gently Weeps. It's a tough song to master, but I think I have it down now. I also like, I have a rendition of Alexander Hamilton from the musical that I really love to play.
And Mike asks, who signed those baseballs behind you?
Only one of them was signed in person. I hope that the others are authentically signed by the athletes from my favorite baseball team, my favorite pro baseball team. Of course, my favorite baseball team are the LMU Lions. But my favorite pro baseball team are the Red Sox, and I have all the living Hall of Famers baseballs behind me, including the one that we're all crossing our fingers for the Hall of Fame, which is David Ortiz. He's on top.
Freddie Puza asks, what's your favorite part about working in higher education? And what other industry would you work in if not higher ed?
Hi, Fred. I like, the part about higher education that I like the most is being able to transform students from when they come in to when they graduate. And all the opportunities that wonderful institutions like LMU get to provide students. That's just the most rewarding for me. What was the second part of Fred's question?
What other industry would you work in if not higher education?
Oh, well, if I had any real talent, I would work in the music industry. But, you know, in terms of behind the scenes, I'd love to work in film and television. Of course, you know, I'm a chemist, so I would work in chemistry as well.
And Berto wants to ask, are you looking forward to having an LMU bobblehead in your likeness?
I think those are reserved for the really big folks, but I would love to. But yeah, that would be my answer.
We have a question from Brianne Gilbert. She asks, at the Center for the Study of LA, our primary focus is on undergraduate research. Can you please share what your undergraduate research experience was and how it helped shape you?
Oh, absolutely. Great question. First of all, I love the Center for the Study of LA, the Levy Center. Just amazing work that comes out of there and lots of opportunities for students to get involved in research. My first research opportunity was as a senior at my college, which was a Jesuit institution, and I got to do chemistry research where we discovered a new reaction. And shortly after I graduated, we were able to publish that paper. It turned out to be my first journal article with my professors. So that was really exciting for me.
And we know that it wasn't only your ukulele playing that was a hit at the first year convocation. Can you tell us a little bit about your keynote address, The Chemistry of Learning?
Sure. What I wanted to do in my convocation address for the first year students was to tie together various pieces of present day. You know, and by pieces I mean current events, but also the significance of learning to them. So I found 4 chemicals that were able to tie this together. One was dopamine, which is responsible for the reward system in our brain. And so I used that to kind of prep them to learn for these next 4 years. And then I also talked about GABA, which is another chemical that's responsible for the learning of motion and movement. And that was a shout out to all our athletes and musicians and performers here at LMU. And then I got a little serious and talked about cortisol, which is responsible for our negative memories in our brain. And so I did an exercise where I took them through some key words that are prevalent today. They were political words like Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Charlottesville, the alt-right, the far left. And I had them reflect on their feelings, thinking that their feelings would be negative in some way, shape, or another. And use that as a segue to explain that this cortisol that is responsible for our negative memories is responsible for locking in these memories in our brain. And when we hear trigger words or see events that remind us of our negative memories, we can't help the way we feel. And I use that as a further segue to talk about civil discourse, which President Snyder earlier in the convocation mentioned was one of the tenets of what we need to do as an institution of higher education, as a Jesuit institution. And no matter how dire or grave it gets in our world, we as a community have to come together in civil discourse. So those are some of the aspects of my convocation speech, to recap.
Okay, we have a question from Natalie. She writes, I feel like most students are unaware of who the provost is or what the provost does. Can you describe your position and responsibilities and how you plan to impact LMU with your new position?
Certainly. That's a great question, Natalie. So the reason why most folks don't know what a provost does is because that position is different at different universities. At LMU, the provost oversees all of academic affairs and oversees student affairs as well as enrollment management, career and professional development, and a few other areas, study abroad, for example. And so what I hope to do is to provide opportunities for students to engage with all of these areas. And don't get me wrong, there are many people who work with me to accomplish the goals that this university sets out to do in those areas. So I have to do a shout out to all of them. I have just had an amazing time getting to know them and working with them. And what we hope to do in the near and far future is extend the opportunities that this great university offers. We have so many great initiatives that are coming down the pipe. We have our Playa Vista initiative. I'm pointing this way because it's right outside my window here in my office. This is going to really connect us to the Silicon Beach industry and that entire community. It's going to help us achieve President Snyder's vision for us to become the definitive center for global imagination and its impacts. Lots of exciting things going on in that area. We are going to hopefully expand our study abroad options and our internationalization options, and to really leverage our location here, 5 minutes from one of the most accessible airports in the world, and several minutes away from some amazing communities that are culturally rich and diverse, and to bring folks to LMU and to bring LMU to the world. Those are some of the opportunities that I think we have going forward.
And David wants to know if you like to travel and what non-English languages have you studied?
Oh, wow. Great question. I love to travel. I don't get to do nearly enough of it. My most exotic place that I've traveled recently is Poland. I really enjoyed going there and meeting the people there. In high school and college, I learned Spanish, hola. But my native tongue, aside from English, is Cantonese. So I speak a little bit of Cantonese, but I'm slowly losing it, unfortunately.
And we have a question here from John Sebastian, our Vice President for Mission and Ministry. He writes, higher education in general is going through a period of uncertainty and change. What does Catholic Jesuit education have to contribute to the ongoing dialogue about the purpose and value of higher education in the U.S. in the 21st century? And not counting yourself, who is your favorite vice president at LMU?
That's not a fair question, that last one. But I'll answer your first one. I think Jesuit education has a tremendous amount to contribute to these issues that we're facing. And that's because the Jesuit tradition is 100% towards inclusivity and diversity and valuing the opinions of others, the expertise and the lived experiences of others. And I think that that's what we need in this day and age, especially in higher education. So I think that the Jesuit institutions and places like LMU are very well situated to take us forward in higher education. My favorite vice president, other than myself, is, I'm not going to say, I love them all.
All right, we have a question now from Pamela. First off, she says, welcome to LMU. And then she asks, how can alumni assist you in transitioning to your new position as provost? And on a larger scale, how can alumni better assist LMU as a whole?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful question. Thanks, Pamela. So alumni can assist me by coming back to campus and engaging with our students and some of the amazing events that we hold here on campus. In all of our colleges and schools, we have just a jam-packed calendar of events that are open to everyone. And we would love for you to come back and this assists me because I'm going to be going to some of those events. And I want you to introduce yourself to me, say hello, and when you do, I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to ask you questions about your experiences here and what you loved about LMU and what you wish LMU had provided you and that it doesn't provide now, so that maybe we can innovate and provide those for our current students. In terms of alumni helping LMU or contributing to LMU in general, there are so many different ways. One is to never forget that you're a lion and what that meant. And when you encounter other lions, to extend that goodwill to your fellow lions. And this can manifest itself in many ways. Internship opportunities, for example, if you work at companies and you have the ability to offer those, we would love for those types of engagements. Mentorship opportunities outside of internships, that would be amazing as well. Of course, we are going to be entering into a comprehensive campaign in the near future, and we would love for you to be engaged in that way as well. So there's so many different ways, and if you have specific suggestions, outside of me seeing you at campus events, I would love for your feedback either by email or through social media. There are so many ways for you to contribute your opinion to me and to the university.
And now we have a question from Milani. She is asking, are there any locations on campus where commuter students can rest, relax, study, and pass time in between classes when they have long hours in between?
The one that is surprising to me, but I think is really cool, is right here in University Hall. So University Hall is like a big mall, right? It used to belong to the Howard Hughes Company. And there are bridges that connect both sides of University Hall. And these are where the stairs up through the 4 different levels are. And on those bridges are comfy chairs and tables, right? So that's a place that commuter students can relax. There's a coffee shop down on the 1st floor, so you can get some coffee and some food. But here's another neat thing. There are living plants here in University Hall, trees. And what we've done around those trees is we've taken out some of the brushes that we used to have around those trees and put in wood flooring. And then on that wood flooring, we've put tables and chairs. So you can study in University Hall or rest or plop your gear down and just take in the sights of education going around you, the sights and sounds, but also you can study under the trees with natural lighting because we have skylights in University Hall. I think that's one of the great places. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to the Hannon Library, right? That is an amazing place to relax and study. It is very, very user-friendly, both in terms of the staff in the library, but also in the layout. And I'm sure you know, if you've been at LMU for any time, that that's a popular place for students to plop their gear down, to rest, to study, to get work done. So I would say those are my two biggest suggestions.
And now we have a question from Alejandra. First off, she says, welcome to LMU, looking forward to your upcoming book. And she asks, what do you think is the most important thing for first-generation college students to keep in mind when crafting their success narrative?
I love it. I love that question. And I think I have a good answer, which is never, ever forget that you are where you are and you have achieved what you've achieved so far because of your ability, right? And your potential. Because I'm a first-generation student too, we have a tendency to make excuses for our success, and you don't have to. Your excuse is that you work hard, you have ability, you're intelligent, and you have people behind you who have enabled your path so far. One thing that I used to do was I used to say that my parents lucked into their situation. They were immigrants. They lucked into their situation. I realized it wasn't luck. They were hard workers. They had a vision for coming to America and for succeeding here and for providing for their children. And I'm sure your parents have as well. And they've blazed this trail for you as a first-gen student to be successful and to utilize your talents. So don't forget that that you have strengths, and don't apologize for them.
And now we have a question from John. What role or position do you believe LMU should play within the cohort of the 28 U.S. Jesuit institutions? And given the need for education that truly creates men and women for others, what collaborations do you believe are possible between LMU and other Jesuit colleges and universities?
Wow, great question. Well, we're lucky that we're part of the AJCU, which is the Association of Jesuit Colleges and Universities. And most folks don't know this, but the AJCU sponsors meetings between various administrators and constituencies of all the Jesuit institutions each year. So for example, in October, I'm going to the Chief Academic Officers meeting of all the AJCUs. They have one for presidents. They have one for most of the vice president positions. They have ones for department chairs and deans. And so through these meetings, we collaborate on many, many things. As I mentioned to an earlier Facebook question asker, I would love some ideas from all of you. If you have ideas on collaborations that we should be doing, send them my way, and I can bring these up at these meetings that I attend. In terms of our position, I see LMU as a leader among the AJCUs. We, as I mentioned earlier, we have President Snyder's vision, right, for us to be the definitive center for global imagination and its impacts. We have our amazing location in the creativity capital of the world. We have our mobility thanks to our closeness to the airport. And we are poised to really, really take it to that next level. And I'm so excited to do so in the coming years.
We have another question for you, Provost Poon. We're approaching lunchtime, so what is your favorite spot to eat on campus and off?
Oh, well, let's see. On campus, I would have to say anywhere that the amazing staff in Sodexo is catering an event. Because I've been to several catered events this summer, and not only are the staff just friendly and attentive to all of our needs, but food's pretty good. And then I would say off campus, I really like finding hidden gems that aren't too pricey. So the one that I love is in the Mitsuya Marketplace on Venice and Centinela. They have some food stands in there. The best ramen you will find in LA in Santuka Market or Santuka Restaurant. And then the other food stand is called Hanasuke, which is a tempura food stand. And there are only two Hanasukes in the world. One is in Japan, and the other one is in this little food court in this Japanese market. So that's where I would, that's a staple for me and my family.
And we have a question from Patrick. He says, welcome to LMU. And what do you think international education, so study abroad and other initiatives, should look like at a Jesuit university focused on global imagination in a diverse city like Los Angeles?
Oh, great question, Patrick. Thanks for your welcome. I think I think there's a lot of white space for us to innovate here. And again, especially because of our location, right? So I think international education should be, extending opportunities for our students and faculty to go all over the world, right? Anywhere they can imagine would be great for their teaching or their research. And then the special thing that I think we can do in LMU is once our folks come back or before they go abroad, to also connect with our local communities here. Because there are so many ethnic and cultural communities within LA that we can learn from. And, we have some amazing professors here, faculty, who teach courses, a comprehensive set of disciplines, courses that teach us about the world in which we live. And so by combining our education on campus with the education that we can receive from our local LA community, and then extending that outward into the world, I think very few other institutions can provide that. And that's what we seek to do.
And you mentioned in your bio that you like cinema. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, I have lots, but my ultimate favorite movie is The Shawshank Redemption, because it's a movie about change, redemption, of course, in the title, but also about friendship. It was just amazing watching the friendship of the two main characters develop through the course of that movie. And, it's about ingenuity as well. It just had everything. No big special effects. I just loved the story that was told by that movie.
And another question, how do you feel about LMU's diversity and representation of underrepresented groups? Why is diversity and inclusivity important to a university? Well,
diversity is important to a university like LMU because we can't innovate and learn as effectively without diversity. We learn from each other, right? We have students here from 90 different countries. I mean, that's an amazing number of countries represented, of cultures represented. And our campus is made more rich by these international students who are on campus. So there's that. Innovation, research has shown that innovation is fueled by diversity. There have been contests, for example, where when the groups or teams working on these contests were diversified, they were able to produce better results as a result of that diversity. And our world is just becoming more and more diverse. And I feel that LMU is moving in the right direction. It's a pretty diverse place. We have more work to do. And I'm really looking forward to doing that work and bringing in more students of color, for example, but other forms of diversity as well. And that's where LMU, I think, can really move the needle, because we are such an inclusive place. We value the opinions of others, we value the cultures of others, and we value the lived experiences of others. And I think that is, that's very important for where we seek to go in terms of diversity.
And how do we support our DACA students, and what is our position?
Oh, well, we are 100% supportive of our DACA students, and I believe President Snyder has on many occasions commented about this and posted about this and sent out communications about this. We are with the other AJCU institutions in terms of our unwavering support for DACA students. They are connected to the previous question, right? They are essential to the livelihood of this institution, to the innovation that happens here, to the diversity of our institution. It's just so important that no matter what happens out in the political sphere, that we as a community rally around our undocumented students and pledge our support for them.
And we have a question here from Alex. What are some ways in which you expect your experience working with the LMU student population to differ from your experience with the Pitzer student population?
Oh, well, I think there are many great qualities that both have in common, right? They both value social justice and social responsibility. The environment, for example, and environmental sustainability. So in many regards, it's going to be similar. But here's what I would say about LMU students. We have a much more comprehensive offering of majors and disciplines here. And so, again, it all goes back to diversity, right? There are so many students doing so many different things here at LMU that it's going to be so valuable to me in helping me decide what directions we should go in, what things we should offer, what opportunities we can provide. And so that's what one big difference that I think is going to be and is very, very exciting for me. Okay, maybe if there's one more question. If not, I have a surprise for you. No more questions? Okay, so in my bio I mentioned that I'm a musician. I like to play guitar, but my favorite instrument of late is the ukulele. That's how you pronounce it, ukulele. And as most people know, it's a Hawaiian instrument. I have mine here. And this one was signed by Jake Shimabukuro, so I really love this instrument. And I'm going to play my LMU song, which I wrote and sang for the first year students at my convocation address. And these are, some of the things I've learned about LMU so far. So here we go, without further ado. Haven't practiced it since Sunday, so hopefully I'll do okay. Here we go. Of the 28 Jesuit institutions in the United States, LMU's the best. That's not up for debate. Sacred Heart Chapel is where we celebrate the Mass. Our Playa Vista campus is badass. The LMU community is badass too. We excel in everything we do. LMU's the University of Silicon Beach. Service of faith and justice, that's what we teach. Love of learning and whole person education. Awaken our global imagination. When LMU beckons us, we heed the call. Try not to get lost in University Hall, like I have many times. All hail, all hail, all hail LMU. We wear our colors proudly, the crimson and the blue. As lions, we cheer our teams on all the time, especially when beating Pepperdine. Go Lions! Our quest for knowledge takes us ever higher. We Lions set the world on fire. Thank you, everyone. I never knew applause could come through the internet like that. Just kidding. Well, thank you for joining me today. And as I mentioned with one of the earlier questions, I can't wait to meet all of you at our various events, engagements, alumni weekend, the barbecue, at our basketball games, at our other sporting events. Come out and support our team. We're going to have an amazing season in athletics this year. So please, please, do not be shy. Say hello, introduce yourself. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you and goodbye.
Hey there, Lions and friends of LMU. Hope you enjoyed this video. There's plenty more good stuff from our campus on the Bluff, so be sure to hit subscribe and be the first to know when our new videos go live.